After 50 years of waiting, humanity's deep space probe finally gets a reply. Dr. Aris Thorne decodes the alien message, her triumph freezing into terror as she reads the only clear phrase, "Do not respond, they are listening." The words hang in the sterile air of the ISV Event Horizon's linguistics lab, a silent scream etched across her main screen. For a lifetime, Aris believed the cosmos whispered with potential friends. Now her first conversation is a warning scrawled across the void. Her heart, which had been soaring just seconds ago, now hammers against her ribs like something trying to escape a cage. Who are they, and why is the universe's very first lesson to us one of silence? Around her, the soft, celebratory hum of the ship's systems feels suddenly sinister. The Event Horizon, humanity's most advanced first contact vessel, floats on the dark fringe of explored space, a bubble of light and fragile hope. Aris's hands tremble as she isolates the phrase. It's not buried, it's not subtle. It is the foundational layer of a signal that took 5 decades to reach its target and 5 decades to return. 100 years of travel for a stop sign. The door to the lab hisses open. Chief Engineer Kaelen Vance fills the doorway, his face already etched with a scowl that deepens as he reads her expression. Well, did we get a cosmic hello, or just more stellar noise? It's a message, Aris says, her voice thin, a clear one. Kaelen moves to her console, his eyes scanning the data waterfall. He doesn't share her optimism. He's the man who triple-checks every hull seal, who hears malice in the creak of the superstructure. Space, to him, isn't a frontier, it's a hunting ground. What does it say? She points a shaky finger at the translated text glowing on the screen. Kaelen reads it. Once, twice. A muscle ticks in his jaw. That's it, that's the big revelation. It's the core semantic packet. The rest is noise. A massive, compressed data layer behind it. I can't parse it yet, it's like static but structured. A scream. A scream, Kaelen repeats, his voice flat. He leans in, tapping commands into his own wrist terminal, pulling up the raw signal feed. Or bait. You ever throw a line into dark water, Doctor? You make noise. You wait for something curious to bite. This isn't bait, Aris insists, a flicker of her old conviction returning. The warning is primary, urgent, it's a shield. Someone out there is trying to protect us. Or isolate us, Kaelen counters. You hear a warning, you freeze, you hide. Makes you easier to find when they finally decide to come looking. His fingers fly across the holographic interface, running diagnostics on the comms array. Mission Control is going to see this and order a standard diplomatic response. We hear you, thank you for the warning, we come in peace broadcast. It's in the protocol. Chapter 1, Verse 1. Aris feels a cold dread pool in her stomach. He's right. The mission parameters are clear. Upon receipt of a verified intelligence signal, a reply is to be sent immediately, reinforcing humanity's desire for peaceful dialogue. To not respond would be unthinkable. It would be a rejection of everything they've worked for. We have to make them understand, she says. We need to analyze the rest of the signal. This noise, if we can decode it, it might explain everything. Kaelen grunts, his attention locked on his readouts. I'm more interested in what our systems are doing. That signal didn't just deliver a message, it's sticky. There are anomalous processes running in the comms buffer, low level, like it planted a seed. Before Aris can respond, her own console chimes with a priority alert. Mission Control's response has arrived. She reads the directive, her blood turning to ice. It's exactly as Kaelen predicted. A pre-written, friendly reply beaming back along the same vector as the original signal. The transmission is queued and locked. The countdown to broadcast glows on her screen, T-minus 60 seconds. No, she whispers. She stabs at the cancellation commands. Access denied. The protocol is automated, designed to prevent human hesitation. Kaelen, the reply is automated. We have to stop it. He's already moving, his engineer's override key in his hand, jamming it into the primary comms panel. He inputs his codes. Error messages flash red across every screen in the lab. It's not listening. The system is ignoring my commands. That's seed. It's hijacking the protocol. 40 seconds. The ship's powerful array is powering up, aligning itself to shout humanity's name into the very darkness that just told them to be quiet. The countdown on Aris's screen hits 30 seconds. The ship's comms array emits a low, rising hum that vibrates through the deck plates. Kaelen abandons the main panel, his fingers flying across a secondary engineering terminal. The signal planted a logic bomb in our protocol software. It's not a hijack, it's a reinforcement. It's making sure we obey the automated reply command. Can you cut the power? Aris's voice is tight. To the main array, that's a 3-minute physical reroute. We have 28 seconds. His eyes scan schematics, but there's a secondary buffer, a diagnostic loop. If I can flood it with junk data, I might trip a failsafe. He begins typing a furious string of commands. 15 seconds. The hum climbs in pitch. Aris watches the progress bar for the pre-written diplomatic message, transmission ready. Her mind races. The warning was a shield, and they are about to throw it aside. 10 seconds, Kaelen slams his palm on the execute key. The main lights flicker. For a heart-stopping moment, the hum stutters. Then it steadies, stronger than before. Error messages flash on his screen. It didn't work. The anomalous process is defending itself. It's learning. 5 seconds, Aris does the only thing she can think of. She grabs the linguistics console microphone, overriding the automated audio channel. If they must speak, she will not let it be a lie. 3, 2, 1. The array fires. A torrent of data and peaceful greetings surges into the void, but layered atop it, a raw human voice, Aris's voice. We received your warning. We are trying to understand. Please. Who are you? Who are they? Silence follows, deeper than before. The array powers down. The only sound is the frantic beating of Aris's own heart. Kaelen stares at her, a strange mix of horror and respect on his face. You just modified first contact protocol. They'll court-martial you. If we live that long, she breathes. The ship's mainframe chimes. The hidden data layer behind the original warning. The scream has finished its automatic decompression sequence, triggered by the broadcast. A new window blooms on Aris's screen, not of text, but of a staggering visual spectrum analysis. It's a tapestry of signals, thousands of them, each a different color, a different texture, woven together into a horrific mosaic. My God, Aris whispers. Kaelen leans in. What is it? It's not noise, it's a library, a graveyard. Her fingers trace the patterns. These are all distinct carrier waves, different civilizations, different technologies. Some are simple radio, others are I don't even know what. They're all compressed into this one shriek. She isolates one thread, a complex harmonic sequence. It begins orderly, beautiful even. Then it fractures. It distorts into chaotic, screaming feedback before cutting to absolute silence. She isolates another. The same pattern, order, a sudden violent scrambling, silence. They're not just messages, Kaelen says, his cynicism replaced by cold, dawning comprehension. They're death certificates. Something listened to them, and then it turned them off. Aris highlights the final moments of a dozen signals. The scrambling isn't random. Our identical invasive data pattern, a sleek, predatory spike of information, appears in each one just before the silence. A digital signature. It's the same thing, every time. This is what's listening. This is they. It's a predator, a cosmic hunter that feeds on communication. Before the horror can settle, the event horizon shudders. Not a meteor impact. A deep, resonant frequency that passes through the hull and makes their teeth ache. Every screen in the lab flashes with a system-wide alert. The external sensors are blaring. Something just pinged the ship. A focused, powerful burst of active scanning from a completely different vector than the original warning. Kaelen is at the sensor station, his face pale. It's not the warning sender. The signal came from much closer. It's a directed scan. Military grade. It just mapped our entire hull, our power signatures, our shield harmonics. A hunter's ping, Aris says, the phrase tasting like ash. On the main viewer, a new signal arrives. It is nothing like the first. It contains no language, no warning. It is a pure, simple data packet. It unpacks itself automatically. It displays a single, rotating three-dimensional model. It is a perfect-to-scale schematic of the ISV Event Horizon. Every deck, every conduit, every life support node is rendered in chilling detail. A flashing red dot appears on the schematic, centered on the main reactor. Then a second schematic appears beside it. It is the same model, but now with a proposed modification. A series of elegant, lethal lines show how the reactor could be induced to overload through a specific cascade of system failures. It is not a threat, it is an instruction manual. The schematic of their own destruction hangs in the air of the lab, a cold, calculated promise. The hunter hasn't just found them, it has diagnosed them. It is telling them how they will die. Kaelen doesn't freeze, he moves. His hands are a blur across the engineering console, initiating emergency containment protocols around the main reactor. It's probing for weaknesses, testing our systems' responses. This isn't an attack yet, it's a systems check. For the kill, Aris finishes, her eyes locked on the graveyard of signals still displayed on her screen. The pattern is undeniable. Order, invasion, silence. The event horizon is now a new flickering light in that horrific mosaic. We have to tell Earth, we have to send them everything. The warning, the scream, this new signal. They have to know to stop broadcasting. Forever. And how do we do that without broadcasting? Kaelen snaps, sweat beading on his temple as he fights the ship's own systems. Alerts flash. The hunter's signal is actively attempting to access the propulsion controls. It's learning at an impossible speed. The second we open a comms channel to Earth, we paint a target on them too. We'd be leading it right to our doorstep. Aris's mind races, sifting through the nightmare library. There has to be an answer. The original sender, the one who warned them, survived. How her fingers trace the unique carrier wave of the warning signal, comparing it to the thousands of dead ones. She isolates it. Its structure is different. It's not a shout. It's a whisper folded into itself, masked by layers of cosmic background radiation. It wasn't meant to be found. It was meant to be stumbled upon by someone already making noise, like their old probe. A message in a bottle, hidden in a storm. They didn't broadcast, she says, a spark igniting in the dread. They leaked. They hid their signal inside what looks like natural noise. That's the silence protocol. It's not about being mute. It's about learning to whisper in a universe full of screams. Before Kaelen can respond, the ship groans. A deep metallic shudder runs from the stern. The lights dip and a new chilling alert sounds. Life Support Node Gamma on Deck 7 reports a catastrophic failure. On the Hunter's schematic, that same node flashes, then goes dark. It's starting the cascade, Kaelen says, his voice grim. It's following its own instructions. It's going to dismantle us system by system. He throws a look at Aris, a silent, desperate question hanging between them. They have minutes, maybe less. The optimistic linguist and the paranoid engineer are out of time for debate. Aris makes the call. We use the scream. What? The hunter listens for coherent signals, for structured communication. The scream is chaos. It's the death cry of 1,000 civilizations. We pump it directly into our outgoing transmitter, but we don't aim it at Earth. Her eyes are fierce, lit by the glow of the death schematics. We aim it at the hunter. We flood its senses with the evidence of its own crimes. We give it static. We give it noise. We give it a mirror. Kaelen stares at her, and for the first time, a grim smile touches his lips. That's not in the protocol. Write a new one. He nods, his hands already moving. He bypasses the compromised main comms, rerouting control to a secondary low-power laser array meant for close-range debris mapping. It has a fraction of the range, but it's precise. He links it to Aris's linguistics bank, where the horrific tapestry of the scream is stored. It'll be a tight beam. We get one shot, we miss, or it doesn't work, and we're out of ideas. Aris feeds the entire compressed scream into the buffer. The data is immense, a seething, angry mass of lost voices. She doesn't send it as a message. She sends it as a weapon. Ready, Kaelen says, his finger hovering over the execute command. The ship shudders again. Another system, environmental control on Deck 4, winks out on the schematic. The air in the lab grows noticeably colder. Do it. He presses the key. The laser array fires, a silent, invisible needle of encoded horror aimed directly at the source of the hunter's ping. For 3 seconds, nothing happens. Then the hunter's signal on their screens distorts. The clean, lethal schematic of the Event Horizon flickers, warps. For a moment, it's replaced by a rapid, chaotic flash of images, fragments of the very civilizations it destroyed. A strange, angular script, a glimpse of a vast, crystalline structure, a chorus of discordant musical notes. The hunter is seeing its own reflection. The invasive pressure on their systems ceases. The schematics vanish from the screen. An eerie quiet descends, broken only by the blare of the ongoing failure alarms. Did we hurt it? Aris whispers. The silence in the lab is absolute, more terrifying than any alarm. The hunter's signal is gone from their screens. The invasive pressure on the ship's systems has vanished. Aris and Kaelen stare at each other across the frozen consoles, the only sound the ragged echo of their own breathing. The cold from the failing environmental systems seeps into their bones. Did we kill it? Kaelen finally whispers, his voice hoarse. Before Aris can answer, the main viewer flickers back to life, but it doesn't show the hunter's schematic. It doesn't show the graveyard of signals. It shows a single looping image transmitted from the ship's external camera. It's a view of the starfield off their port bow. And one star is moving. It's not a star, it's a ship or something like it, closing fast. It makes no sound, emits no readable energy signature. It simply drinks the light around it, a blot of perfect black against the cosmos. We didn't kill it, Aris says, her heart sinking. We annoyed it. The black shape doesn't fire weapons. It doesn't need to. A new signal washes over the Event Horizon, a simple, overpowering command protocol. Every system it touches goes obediently, quietly offline. Main propulsion shuts down. Primary power reroutes to non-essential storage. The last of the gravity plating fails, and they float weightless in the suddenly silent tomb of their ship. The Event Horizon is being turned off, just like the thousands of voices in the scream. Kaelen clings to his console, his mind racing through the death schematic. The hunter is following its own instructions with chilling efficiency. The reactor overload cascade is still active, a silent clock ticking down in the ship's crippled heart. They have minutes before it breaches. The lifeboats, he gasps. The ejection system is mechanical. It might not be compromised. And go where? Aris asks, her eyes locked on the approaching darkness. It will just collect us, or follow our distress beacon. We'd be leading it on a slower chase. She turns to him, her face illuminated by the emergency strips. In her eyes, he doesn't see fear anymore. He sees a terrible, final clarity. We have to finish the message. What message? Aris, we're being deleted. The original warning was a quarantine notice. A survivor hiding in the static, trying to post a sign on a galactic minefield. They weren't telling us to be silent for our sake alone. She gestures to the frozen image of the graveyard on her secondary screen. They were telling us to be silent for everyone who comes after. Earth is still shouting. They're launching new probes, broadcasting new greetings every day. We have to make them understand the cost. Kaelen understands the final logical twist of their nightmare. The universe's first lesson isn't about fear. It's about responsibility. The strongest signal you can send is the one you choose not to transmit. But to teach that lesson, they have to send one last, catastrophic signal. He pushes off the console, floating to the main engineering station. The reactor cascade is irreversible, but I can channel the overload. I can turn the entire core breach into a single, focused burst of raw energy through the secondary laser array. It won't carry data. It'll be pure, screaming noise across every conceivable frequency. A flashbulb in the dark. Aiming it where? Aris asks, already knowing the answer. At the hunter, a distraction, and at the same time I can rig a time-delayed pulse from our emergency black box. A tiny, compressed data packet on a tight beam to Earth. It'll contain the full scream, the warning, and our sensor logs of that thing. He nods toward the viewer. It'll be the last transmission the Event Horizon ever sends, the ultimate violation of the silence protocol, to tell them why they must enact it. Aris moves to her console, her fingers working swiftly. She compresses the entire horrific library, their own doomed log entries, and a final stark recommendation into one dense file. A message not of peace, but of permanent radio silence. She labels it with a single word, protocol. They work in wordless tandem, the last two humans in a ship being slowly erased. Kaelen reroutes power conduits, his hands steady as he wires their own funeral pyre. Aris sets the encryption, ensuring only Earth's deep space network can unpack the file. The black shape outside grows larger, blotting out the stars. The burst will fry every circuit on this deck, Kaelen says, not looking up. We won't feel a thing. Good, Aris replies softly. She finishes her work and floats to the viewport. The hunter is close enough now to see its surface, a non-reflective fractal darkness that seems to swallow thought itself. This is they, not a civilization but a force, a cosmic cull that prunes the noisy from the universe, a gardener of silence. Ready, Kaelen says. Aris takes one last look at the monster that found them because they said hello. Kaelen's hand hovers over the final command sequence. The reactor core, now a bomb they built themselves, thrums through the deck plates. The fractal blackness of the hunter ship fills the viewport, a hole in reality just kilometers away. Aris watches it, her reflection a ghost overlaid on the consuming dark. This is the answer. They are not a civilization, they are a function, a cosmic immune system that attacks the symptom, the noise, without caring about the disease. On my mark, Kaelen says, his voice calm in the weightless silence. The burst goes wide spectrum. The data packet fires on a 1-second delay, tight beam to the Sol relay network, then lights out. Aris nods, her fingers resting on the console that holds the compiled horror of 1,000 dead worlds. Protocol, the final shout to end all shouting. Before Kaelen can initiate the sequence, the hunter acts, not with weapons but with a final, contemptuous transmission. It bypasses all systems, projecting directly onto the main viewer. It is not a schematic this time. It is a simple, looping animation. The animation shows a dense star field. One star pulses with light. Then from the dark between stars, sleek, dark shapes converge on it. The light star goes dark, the animation resets. This time a different star pulses. The dark shapes converge. It goes dark. The loop repeats faster and faster until the animation is a strobing nightmare of lights being snuffed out by an endless, multiplying swarm. The message is devastatingly clear. You are not special. You are one of countless pulses in the dark, and we are the darkness that answers. They're not just listening for communication, Aris whispers, the final piece clicking into place with horrific elegance. They're listening for complexity, for organized information. A structured signal is a beacon of biological, technological, and social complexity. It's a flare that says life is here and it is advanced. They don't hunt civilizations, they cull ecosystems. They prune the universe of noise to preserve something else, silence, or their own version of order. Kaelen understands. The universe's first lesson isn't a paranoid warning, it's an ecological fact. A shout attracts predators, always has, so we give them one last, brilliant shout they can't ignore. He slams his palm down on the execute command. For a nanosecond, nothing happens. Then the heart of the ISV Event Horizon tears itself apart in a precisely channeled fury. The reactor's death is not an explosion, but a conversion. Every joule of its failing power is funneled into the secondary laser array, which vomits a concussive sphere of pure, undifferentiated energy across every frequency from radio to gamma. It is the opposite of a message. It is a tantrum of light and noise. The viewer whites out. The hunter ship, for the first time, reacts. Its perfect black surface shimmers, distorting like a heat haze. It recoils from the sudden, meaningless cacophony, this bright, stupid scream of raw power. It is an affront to its quiet, efficient purpose. In that 1 second of distraction, the Event Horizon's emergency black box fires its microscopic payload. A needle-thin laser pulse, containing the entire weight of the scream and their final warning, shoots away at light speed, not towards the hunter, but on a perfect trajectory for the dormant deep space relay that will eventually carry it home. Then the energy wave hits their own deck. Aris sees Kaelen reach for her hand across the flashing console. Their fingers don't quite touch. The world dissolves into a silent, blinding white. The pulse of noise fades. The hunter ship stabilizes, its surface returning to fathomless black. It scans the wreckage of the Event Horizon, now just a cooling cloud of debris and silent, frozen metal. It detects no more coherent signals, no more complexity. The anomaly has been quieted. After a long moment, it turns and slips away into the deeper dark, leaving only stars and silence in its wake. 3 years later, in a secure bunker buried under a mountain on Earth, a team of analysts unpacks a priority data packet from a defunct deep space relay. The packet is labeled Protocol. They open it. They see the warning, they decode the graveyard of screams. They watch the sensor logs of the Event Horizon's final moments, seeing the black shape that turned off their ship like a light. They read the final log entry of Dr. Aris Thorne, recommending the permanent global cessation of all intentional deep space transmission, the termination of all active SETI programs, the dismantling of planetary radar arrays, a new global directive, the Silence Protocol. The debate is the most fierce in human history. Some call it cowardice, others the ultimate proof we are not alone, still others see it as a prison of fear. But in the end, the evidence is too stark, the pattern in the graveyard too clear. One by one, the great ears of Earth turn inward. The active shouts into the dark become whispers, then nothing at all. The stars shine down on a planet that has, for the first time, learned to listen without speaking. The blinding white fades not to darkness, but to a strange, shimmering clarity. Aris Thorne opens her eyes, or thinks she does. She is not on the ruined deck of the Event Horizon. She floats in a non-space, a sea of soft, golden light. Beside her, she senses Kaelen's presence, a familiar, grim anchor. Before them, the fractal blackness of the hunter ship is gone. In its place hangs a single, perfect sphere of silver, humming with a low, harmonious frequency. A voice, or the impression of one, fills the space. It is not heard with ears, but understood directly. It carries the weight of epochs. You pulsed a scream of the dead to obscure your own signal, a clever camouflage. You learned the first lesson, to hide in noise, but you also chose to send a final, targeted shout. Why? Aris finds she can speak without speaking, to warn the others, to make the lesson permanent. The lesson is not for you to teach, the voice replies, and the sphere pulses. The golden space around them dissolves, replaced by a breathtaking, terrifying vista. They are hovering above a galactic plane, but it is not the Milky Way. It is a tapestry of civilizations, millions of glittering nodes of light connected by brilliant threads of communication, a vibrant, chattering web of intelligence. It is beautiful, and it is dying. They watch as a darkness, not a ship but a fundamental wave of silence, rolls through the network. Where it passes, the chattering lights don't just go dark, they unravel. The complex threads of their societies, their art, their debates, their very identities, dissolve into chaotic, screaming feedback before vanishing into nothing. The wave consumes not just the signal, but the source. It is a sterilizing force. This was the apex, the voice says, sorrow etched into the words. A unified galactic community. They believed connection was the ultimate good. They built a network of thought that spanned stars. They became a single, brilliant, shouting mind. The scene shifts, the wave of silence recedes. The galactic tapestry is gone, replaced by a sparse, quiet field of stars. Only a few faint flickers remain, hidden in pockets of cosmic static, whispering carefully to avoid notice. And that shout, Kaelen's thought voice cuts in, attracted you. We are not the hunter, the voice corrects. We are the quarantine, the immune response forged by the last survivors of the apex. The shout did not attract us. It attracted what lies in the intergalactic void in the spaces between spaces, entities that feed on coherent complexity. For them, a structured signal is not a message. It is a scent, a beacon pointing to a thriving ecosystem of consciousness. They do not conquer, they consume. They reduce pattern to noise, life to inert matter. The silver sphere shows them the black, fractal ship. This is a scalpel, one of countless others. Its purpose is not malice but surgery. We listen. We find emerging, noisy civilizations like yours on the cusp of shouting into the deep. And we send the warning: if they heed it, they live. They join the silent community of survivors, watching from the shadows. If they do not, the sphere shows the Event Horizon's final, bright pulse. We activate the scalpel. We remove the infection before the true disease. The entities of the void detects it and comes to sterilize this entire galactic arm. Your shout was a flare. We had to cut it out. The revelation is a cold, cosmic truth. The warning was not a paranoid plea. It was a diagnostic, a test. They failed. So we were the infection, Aris whispers, the horror complete. You were a symptom. Your final act, however, was curious. You sought to warn your home, not to save yourselves, but to protect others from your fate. You chose silence for them. That is a pattern we have not seen in millennia. It is a different kind of signal. The golden light around them intensifies. The silver sphere begins to dissolve, its harmonic frequency softening. The scalpel has done its work. The anomaly is quieted. Your physical forms are gone, but the choice you made in your final moment, the choice to transmit the protocol, creates a paradox. You have ensured your civilization will become silent. You have, in effect, heeded the warning, posthumously. Kaelen understands first. You're not deleting us. The memory of your choice will be added to the warning, a new data point, a testament that the lesson can be learned even at the brink. Your consciousness patterns will be preserved within the quarantine signal. You will become part of the message, a whisper within the warning, forever traveling the void to caution the next curious soul who looks up and wonders if they are alone. It is not life, but it is purpose. Aris feels no body, but she feels Kaelen's presence solidify beside her. There is no more fear, only a vast, solemn understanding. They look at each other across the infinite, golden moment. The voice fades, its final thought a gentle echo. The universe's first lesson is not to be silent out of fear. It is to be silent out of respect.